Your cat's been scratching all week. You tried everything you can think of, sprays from the pet store, advice from friends, maybe even a vet visit that cost you more than you wanted to spend. Nothing seems to work. The scratching continues. You see the frustration in your cat's eyes, and honestly, it breaks your heart a little bit. You feel helpless, like you're failing as a pet owner. But here's what I want you to understand right now. You're not failing. You've just been looking in the wrong direction this entire time. I'm going to tell you something that most people won't believe at first. Something that took me years to figure out. The reason your cat keeps scratching isn't because there's something fundamentally wrong with them. It's because you've been treating the problem from the outside when the real answer is hiding on your inside. On your kitchen shelves, in your pantry, places you walk past every single day without giving them a second thought. Let me back up for a moment and tell you why I even know this. I spent most of my life thinking the way everyone else thinks. Modern solutions for modern problems. Chemicals for infections, prescriptions for suffering. That's just how the world works now, right? But about 15 years ago, something shifted. I started watching my grandchildren grow up, and I noticed something that troubled me deeply. They were sick more often than my generation was. Allergies that we never heard of. Sensitivities to things that used to be normal. And their pets? Their pets were struggling too. Constant ear infections, skin problems, endless trips to veterinary clinics. That's when I started thinking about my childhood. My grandmother raised animals on a small farm, and I can't remember a single time when she worried about parasites or infections the way we do now. And you know what she did differently? She fed them real food. Simple food. The kind of food that healed from the inside out. So I started researching. Quietly at first, almost embarrassed to ask the questions I was asking. But what I discovered changed everything. There are 14 ingredients, just 14 simple, affordable things that most of us already have access to. Things that, when combined properly, create an internal environment so hostile to parasites that your cat actually becomes invisible to them. Not metaphorically, biologically invisible. But before I walk you through each one, I need to say something important. What you put in your cat's bowl every single day isn't just food. It's medicine. It's the foundation of everything. Their energy levels, the shine in their coat, how long they'll live, and yes, their ability to resist parasites naturally. Most commercial cat foods, even the expensive ones, are designed for profit margins, not wellness. They keep your cat alive, sure, but they don't help your cat truly thrive. I've created something that explains all of this in detail, a complete guide to cat nutrition that took me years to compile. Everything you need to know about feeding your cat for true health, not just survival. I'm making it available to a small group, and the first few people who grab it are getting a significant discount. The link is in the comments. But let's focus on what we're here to do right now. The first thing you need to understand is that parasites aren't randomly attacking your cat. They're hunters. And like all hunters, they're looking for weakness. They can literally smell deficiency. They can sense vulnerability from remarkable distances. Your cat's gut health, the strength of their skin barrier, the quality of their blood chemistry. All of these things send signals that parasites can read like a roadmap. So let's start with the foundation. Bone broth. You've probably made bone broth before. Maybe you've used it in your own cooking. But have you ever really thought about what it does to the body? When I ask this, I mean at the cellular level. Bone broth isn't just a soup. It's a delivery system for compounds that literally rebuild the walls of your cat's digestive system. We're talking collagen, glycine, and gelatin. 3 things that work together to restore the intestinal lining when it's been damaged or compromised. Here's what most veterinarians never mention. A cat with poor gut health is like an open invitation for parasites. The damaged intestinal wall can't produce the protective compounds it's supposed to make. But when you restore that wall with proper bone broth, something remarkable happens. Your cat's digestive system begins producing specific metabolites. These are chemical compounds that travel through the bloodstream and eventually reach the skin. Once they reach the skin, they create what I think of as a biological ID card, a chemical signature that parasites detect and instinctively avoid. They sense it from across the room and decide your cat isn't worth bothering with. Research has confirmed this. There's no guessing here. Studies in peer-reviewed journals have documented a direct connection between gut health and parasite resistance, in companion animals. It's not theory. It's measurable. It's real. All you need to do is give your cat 2 tablespoons of warm, unsalted bone broth, the kind you'd make at home, not from a can with additives, poured over their regular food once a day. That's it. Your cat will love it, and your cat's body will start sending out the signals that make parasites turn away. But bone broth is just laying the foundation. It's preparing the soil. The next ingredient is going to work on a completely different level. It's going to make your cat's skin itself become repellent. Brewer's yeast. Most people see this at the store and never think twice about it. They're walking past one of the most powerful parasite preventers nature offers. Brewer's yeast is saturated with B vitamins, especially thiamine, vitamin B1. And here's the remarkable thing about thiamine. When your cat ingests it regularly, their body uses it to create a scent on their skin. Not a smell that you or I would detect. But parasites? For them, it's like standing next to a sound so unbearable they have to leave immediately. The research on this is quite striking. Animals given regular brewer's yeast supplementation showed significantly lower flea infestations than those without it. And cats specifically metabolize B vitamins faster than most mammals, which means the effect happens quicker and works more thoroughly. Just sprinkle a tiny amount directly onto their food daily. No complicated dosing, no fighting your cat to swallow a pill. Within a week, you'll notice the scratching beginning to slow. Within 2 weeks, you'll see a different animal entirely. Calmer, more comfortable, their skin returning to normal. But understand what's happening here. Brewer's yeast is prevention. It's building a wall. But what about the parasites that are already on your cat? The ones that have already established themselves? The ones already laying eggs? Brewer's yeast doesn't touch those. We need something stronger. Something that kills on contact. Coconut oil. I know you use this in your kitchen. I know you probably know it's healthy for humans. What are you putting in your cat's food? You should be starting today. Coconut oil contains something called lauric acid, and lauric acid is a parasite killer. Not a deterrent. Not something that makes them uncomfortable. Something that actually destroys them. Here's the mechanism. Lauric acid gets absorbed by your cat's body and is secreted through the skin's oil glands naturally. When a parasite lands on your cat, and they will still try, their exoskeleton makes contact with this acid. The acid dissolves the protective waxy layer that keeps them alive. They become dehydrated. They die within hours. The science here is unambiguous. Studies have shown lauric acid to be nearly 98% effective at eliminating parasites on contact. That's nearly complete elimination from a simple kitchen oil. Start with a 1/4 teaspoon mixed into their food each day. Because cats have sensitive digestive systems, you want to build up slowly. But over 2 weeks, you'll see their coat begin to shine differently. The shedding will drop noticeably. The scratching will stop. Now, here's the problem. When you kill parasites this way, they leave eggs behind. Hundreds of them, hidden in the carpet, in bedding, in the fur itself. These eggs are waiting to hatch and continue the cycle. You need an ingredient that specifically attacks these eggs before they ever have a chance to become a threat. Pumpkin puree. This is where people get surprised, and I understand why. Pumpkin puree is often seen as just a seasonal treat or something for digestive health. But it's actually one of the most effective tools against the parasite life cycle. Here's why. Parasites reproduce at incredible speeds, but only when they have the right environment. A slow gut, weak digestion, poor nutrient absorption, that's their breeding ground. Pumpkin puree changes that environment completely. The fiber in pumpkin sweeps the digestive tract clean. The enzymes break down the specific compounds parasites need to survive. Eggs that pass through the system, larvae that are trying to take hold, they all get expelled before they ever become a problem. Your cat's digestion improves almost overnight. Their coat gets healthier, and the parasite cycle gets broken at the source. Just a teaspoon of plain pumpkin puree mixed into their food each day. Your cat will eat it willingly, and you'll see results within weeks. But pumpkin works internally on the digestive battlefield. The next ingredient builds an invisible shield around your cat's entire body. A shield that grows stronger every single week you use it. Chamomile tea. You drink chamomile to relax, don't you? Your cat can use it to build a protective barrier that parasites cannot cross. Chamomile contains natural compounds, apigenin and bisabolol, that function as insect deterrents. When your cat ingests small amounts, these compounds enter the bloodstream and reach the skin, where they create an invisible barrier that strengthens with each dose. Parasites approach, they sense this barrier, and they move on to find an easier target. This has been researched extensively. The results show chamomile to be remarkably effective as a natural parasite deterrent, with virtually no toxicity to mammals when used properly. The key word there is properly. Cats are small, sensitive. Less is always more. Brew a very weak chamomile tea. Let it cool completely. Add just 1 teaspoon to their water bowl twice a week. Not every day, twice a week. That's all it takes. The compounds build up gradually in their system. The barrier strengthens with every dose. Within a month, your cat's skin chemistry has shifted so completely that parasites barely register them as worth their attention. But chamomile builds the shield. Shields can still be tested, still be probed by determined parasites. What we need next is something that changes the actual composition of your cat's blood. Something that makes their blood itself hostile to parasites at the molecular level. Salmon oil. You probably already know salmon oil is healthy. Omega-3 fatty acids, a shinier coat, better joint support. All of that is true. But what most people don't understand is that salmon oil literally transforms your cat's blood chemistry in ways that make parasites unable to feed properly. The active compounds in salmon oil, EPA and DHA, enter the bloodstream and change the lipid profile of your cat's blood completely. They reduce inflammation in the skin. They strengthen every cell membrane in their body. And here's the crucial part. Parasites need very specific blood chemistry to feed efficiently. They're looking for inflammation, for weakness, for vulnerability. Healthy blood? That's useless to them. Research in veterinary dermatology has shown that cats supplemented with marine omega-3s showed dramatically reduced flea bite reactions and lower infection rates. The parasites could detect the altered blood chemistry, attempt to feed, find that the blood was wrong for their needs, and move on to look for a better host. Just half a teaspoon of cold-pressed wild salmon oil mixed into their food daily. Within 2 weeks, the coat transforms. Within 4 weeks, the skin underneath transforms. Within 6 weeks, parasites approach your cat and find a body they cannot successfully feed from. Now, we've been building defenses at different levels. We've got the gut working properly. We've got the skin barrier strengthening. We've got the blood becoming hostile territory. But there's still one thing most people completely overlook: the larvae, the hidden generation, the parasites that are already in your cat's fur, already growing, already preparing to become the next generation of infestation. Pumpkin seeds. I know this sounds strange, but pumpkin seeds contain a compound called cucurbitacin, and it's a parasite paralyzer. Not a killer that requires time or the right conditions. It paralyzes parasites at the neurological level. Adult fleas, hidden larvae, internal worms, they all respond the same way. They become paralyzed. They die. They get flushed out. This isn't new. This isn't trendy. This is ancient knowledge that traditional veterinary medicine has used successfully for decades. Modern pet owners just forgot about it in favor of commercial treatments. Grind raw, organic, unsalted pumpkin seeds into a fine powder using a coffee grinder or blender. Add a 1/4 teaspoon to their food 3 times a week. Not daily, 3 times a week. The dosing matters for cats. They're small and sensitive, but within a month, the hidden larvae are gone. The internal parasite load is gone. The adult flea population is destabilized from something as simple as ground seeds. But seeds paralyze parasites that are already present. They can't stop new parasites from arriving from the carpet, from other animals from outside. We need something that makes your cat so unwelcoming that new parasites refuse to even approach. Catnip. Most people think catnip is entertainment. Something to watch their cat go crazy with for 10 minutes. It's actually one of the most powerful natural insect repellents on the entire planet. Catnip contains a compound called nepentolactone, and this compound has been studied extensively. Some research suggests it performs at levels comparable to commercial chemical insect repellents. A kitchen herb. Commercial chemical performance. Fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, flies, they all sense nepentolactone from a distance and choose a different target. And here's what makes it perfect for cats. They love it. They roll in it. They rub their faces in it, which means the compound naturally absorbs through their skin, coats their fur, and saturates their entire body with the repellent. Every interaction strengthens the barrier. Sprinkle a small amount of dried organic catnip into their bed once a week. Add a tiny amount to a soft cloth they rub against. Let them play with it. The more they interact with it, the stronger the barrier becomes. Within weeks, parasites detect your cat from across a room and turn in another direction. But catnip prevents new infestations. What about the population already in your home? Already in the carpet, the bedding, the corners where you can't reach? We need something that collapses the entire parasite population at once. Nutritional yeast. This is the big one, the ingredient that most veterinarians never mention. Nutritional yeast has been used in natural pet care for over 50 years, and for parasites specifically, it doesn't just reduce infestations. It collapses them entirely. Nutritional yeast is loaded with B vitamins in concentrated, bioavailable form, even more potent than brewer's yeast. Higher concentration, more targeted. When your cat ingests it daily, these vitamins flood the bloodstream and saturate the skin, creating a scent profile that parasites cannot tolerate. But here's what makes nutritional yeast different from everything else we've discussed. It also rebuilds your cat's coat from the inside. Thicker fur, a denser undercoat, a physical barrier so thick and so healthy that parasites can't navigate through it to reach the skin underneath. They land. They get stuck. They can't feed. They eventually die from frustration. Landmark research on B-complex supplementation in companion animals showed dramatic reductions in external parasite activity within just a few weeks of consistent use. Not gradual, dramatic. The population doesn't just decline. It collapses. Add a tiny pinch, less than a quarter teaspoon, of nutritional yeast to their food daily. Combine it with the salmon oil and coconut oil from earlier. The coat thickens. The skin strengthens. The parasite population completely collapses. Now, everything we've talked about so far is about creating hostile conditions. We've been building walls, poisoning the landscape, making your cat an undesirable target. But there's another approach. We can strengthen your cat's immune system so powerfully that their own body starts fighting parasites automatically. No help needed. No supplements required. Just a properly nourished animal. Sardines. Sardines have been called nature's most powerful immune booster for cats. And there's good reason for this title. They're tiny, they're cheap, they're underrated. But once you understand what they actually do inside your cat's body, you'll never look at a tin of sardines the same way again. Sardines are loaded with 3 things your cat's body critically needs. Omega-3 fatty acids, taurine, and coenzyme Q10. All 3 working together at the cellular level. And taurine specifically. This is crucial. Cats cannot produce taurine on their own. They must get it from food. When taurine levels are optimized, the immune system shifts into overdrive. It produces specific proteins that make your cat's blood, skin, and tissues genuinely hostile to external parasites. A parasite bites. The blood chemistry is wrong. It can't feed properly. It leaves and never returns. Research has shown that cats supplemented with whole oily fish like sardines showed significantly improved skin barrier function and reduced parasitic activity compared to cats on standard diets. 0 side effects. 0 risk. Add 1 small sardine, the kind packed in water with no salt or oil, to their food twice a week. That's it. Within days, the scratching slows down. The coat brightens. Parasite activity drops dramatically. But sardines work by boosting immunity from the inside. That's internal defense. We also need external defense. We need to rebuild the actual structure of your cat's skin barrier so thoroughly that parasites cannot physically penetrate it, no matter how hard they try. Bone broth with added collagen. We mentioned bone broth at the beginning, but this is different. This is bone broth specifically combined with added collagen. Collagen is the protein that literally holds skin together. It's the scaffolding, the structure, the foundation of everything. Here's something most owners don't realize. Parasites specifically target cats with compromised skin barriers. Thin skin, dry skin, inflamed skin. That's where they dig in easiest. That's where they feed hardest. That's where the eggs end up. When you combine bone broth with collagen, you rebuild that barrier completely. Stronger skin cells, tighter cellular connections, denser tissue throughout. A biological shield that parasites simply cannot penetrate. Research published in tropical medicine journals confirm collagen's powerful regenerative effect on skin tissue and its indirect antiparasitic properties. The way it works is simple. A strong skin barrier doesn't need to fight parasites. It blocks them at the entrance. Warm 2 tablespoons of unsalted bone broth. Stir in a small amount of pure collagen peptide powder until dissolved. Pour it over their regular food once a day. Combine this with the catnip and sardines from earlier. Skin rebuilt. Immunity strengthened. Parasites with nowhere left to land. But bone broth and collagen work on the skin barrier, the visible external defense. There's something completely different working underneath. Your cat's gut bacteria. And what happens in the gut determines absolutely everything that happens on the skin. Kefir. This surprises everyone. Not because it's complicated, but because it's so beautifully simple. Plain, unsweetened, unflavored kefir. Just a few drops mixed into their food. And inside those few drops are billions of live probiotic cultures ready to completely transform your cat's gut microbiome. The gut microbiome controls everything. Inflammation, skin health, coat quality, immune response, even the natural scent your cat produces. A healthy microbiome produces specific metabolites that seep through the skin surface and create an invisible chemical signature that parasites detect and avoid entirely. This has been studied specifically in cats. The research is clear. There's a direct link between gut microbiome health and external parasite resistance. Healthy gut, fewer parasites, every single time. But cats are sensitive to dairy. They can't tolerate large amounts. So the dosing matters more than with anything else on this list. Just half a teaspoon of plain, organic, full-fat kefir mixed into their food twice a week. Not every day, twice a week. Tiny doses. Within a month, the gut transforms. The skin transforms with it. The constant scratching fades. Parasite activity drops. Your cat becomes biologically uninteresting to parasites entirely. But kefir fixes the gut itself. The internal environment, the microbial battlefield. There's another ingredient that fixes something the gut cannot fix. It addresses your cat's specific nutritional profile, the exact deficiency that makes certain cats parasite magnets while other cats walk through the same yard completely untouched. Taurine-rich foods. This will genuinely change how you think about parasites. Parasites don't choose their host randomly. They target cats with specific nutritional deficiencies. And for cats, the most common critical deficiency is taurine. Think about that. Your cat's nutrition is directly making them a parasite magnet. Most commercial cat foods, especially the cheap ones, contain barely enough taurine to keep your cat alive. Not optimal, not abundant, just enough. And taurine-deficient cats produce weaker skin oils, thinner coats, compromised immune responses. Every single one of those things makes them a target. They become a beacon, a walking invitation for every parasite in the area. Studies have shown that cats with optimized taurine levels were significantly less targeted by biting insects than nutritionally deficient cats. Significantly less targeted. Cooked chicken heart is the gold standard. The taurine concentration in chicken heart is higher than in almost any other natural food on Earth. Just a small piece twice a week. Cooked, unseasoned plain, nothing else added. Within 3 weeks, your cat becomes nutritionally invisible to parasites. They're still a cat. They still go outside. They still walk through the same grass. But parasites look at them and decide to feed somewhere else entirely. The nutritional signature they're looking for is gone. Now, we've built something remarkable. We've addressed the gut, the skin, the blood, the immune system, the physical barriers, the nutritional profile. But there's one final ingredient that takes everything we've done and locks it all together into something unbreakable. Fresh parsley. We saved this one for last for a very specific reason. Fresh flat-leaf parsley is the ingredient that locks everything together. Every single ingredient we've discussed becomes stronger when parsley is added. Every single one. Fresh parsley contains apiol and myristicin in trace amounts, both natural insect deterrents. But that's not the real power. The real power is the massive amount of chlorophyll. Chlorophyll does something remarkable inside your cat's body. It detoxifies the blood. It cleans the liver. It strengthens every internal system that fights parasites naturally. But here's what makes parsley the perfect final ingredient. Chlorophyll enhances the absorption of every other compound already in your cat's system. The salmon oil absorbs better. The B vitamins from nutritional yeast work faster. The taurine from the chicken heart becomes more bioavailable. Everything we've given your cat for the past month gets stronger. Chop a tiny pinch of fresh flat-leaf parsley, curly parsley works too, and mix into their food twice a week. Just a pinch. Nothing more. Cats are small. Less is always more. And when you combine all 14 of these ingredients together, you haven't just protected your cat from parasites and ticks. You've built the most powerful natural defense system possible from the inside out. Permanently. Completely naturally. Without chemicals. Without expensive vet bills. Without your cat's suffering. Let me tell you what this actually means. Your cat will stop scratching. Within weeks, you'll notice the difference. The constant discomfort will fade. You'll see energy return. The coat will shine again. The eyes will be brighter. Your cat will be a different animal. Not because we're treating a disease, but because we're allowing their body to function the way it was designed to. When I was younger, we didn't have these parasite problems. Not because we were lucky, because we understood something fundamental. You have to address the root. You can spray and treat and medicate the symptoms forever, and you'll never solve the problem. But when you build a strong, healthy body from the inside, nothing parasitic can take hold.